Okay, our team is looking forward to a great matchup this week. We actually have a quad meet format, and so we'll be competing against Missouri, Illinois, and Iowa, and it's always a great opportunity for our team to really prepare for postseason and what that format looks like. We're going to be competing on podium, which is very similar to what an SEC championships looks like, and NCAA championships, and so the team is fired up about getting to compete in that type of situation. Overall, we made a big step forward last week. We were faced with a lot of adversity over the first couple weeks of season, and we're at a point where we're either going to let adversity define us or resilience define us. And I think this is a team that's really committed to figuring out, finding a way to overcome what's up against them to really make the most of this back half of season and going into postseason.
Questions? Coach, you talked about kind of the adversity that your team has faced. And after the meet, you talked about being more comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Can you kind of elaborate on that and kind of how you guys do that?
Yeah, I think the name of the game is getting comfortable in the uncomfortable. When it's you alone up there on a piece of equipment, whether it's a 4-inch beam or bars or whatever it is, you have to love that discomfort. You have to kind of crave being out there and it's just you and the beam or you and whatever you're on, and figuring out a way to love what you're doing up there. And it's easy to say, it's another thing to actually do and train for. And so there's a lot that goes into that. Every meet is a learning opportunity. I think our team continues to get better at that, and that's something that we just have to keep pushing towards right now.
What steps do you feel like y'all kind of took this past meet?
I think against LSU overall we upped our average, and so I feel like from training to competition, there are a lot of routines that were a half-tenth to a tenth better. There were still a few holes, still a few opportunities that we need to continue to make that jump in the right direction. But generally speaking, I think the work, the training, the intensity that they really put into practice, you could see that paying off. And that's what we've been committed to this week as well, is our Monday, Tuesday prep, really trying to be a half-tenth to a tenth better on every single turn so that we have more deposits than withdrawals. It's more likely that those deposits are going to come out in the moments that matter the most.
And Rachel talked a little bit about how a lot of y'all's routines are pretty new going into this first third of y'all's season, and Karis German posted that 985. Can you talk a little bit about what's it like being in that moment, watching these new routines post high scores like that?
I think for me, it's always about the breakthroughs and getting to see an athlete really break through mentally and physically, to see their work show up on the biggest stage when they really want to see it show up. It's just a really rewarding feeling. But that really goes back to the prep and how invested each athlete is in doing everything it takes to see that work come to life. I look at Karis German as an example. Over the summer, she was working day in and day out to learn a new vault, to bring it up to competition surface, and really practice the way that she wanted to compete. That work started way back in April of last year. So it takes a really long time to build the skill set, both mentally and physically, to be prepared to go out there and compete in a routine.
Your team scored a season high last week. How would you describe the team's mindset and energy going into this week?
I think overall at the end of the night, our team was really proud of the performance that we put out there. We were so close. We were 2/10 away from beating the defending national champions. So I think we made a really great step in the right direction. At the same time, I think we were all frustrated. Nobody wants to lose. Everybody was really hoping for a win. But we have to put that behind us. It's not about the win. It's about building momentum. It's about getting better, focusing on the things that we can control. And all we can do is be laser focused on the things that are going to make those differences. The half-tenths, the tenths, whether that's the actual physical prep or it's the mindset. So I think for us, we've got to stay disciplined and focused at having a mindset of growth, of getting better, of progress, not perfection, as we're only going into our 6th meet. So there's still a long journey. There's still a lot of competitions ahead. And so we've got to be where our feet are and stay present in the moment.
You said something earlier this season about a new judging feedback system, kind of, or how they were being reviewed. Just how do you think that's gone through the first 5, or I guess 6 weeks overall in college gymnastics this season?
Yeah, I think the goal in implementing a new judging system is really to just have a really transparent way to monitor the integrity of our judging system. I think that goal, that mission is a priority. I think that's important. I think the process and how we're figuring that out, there's still some processes to navigate and refine. I'm thankful to not be the decision maker in that, to decide how that works, but ultimately I do think having a transparent system to make sure the integrity is at a high standard is really important.
Jen Jen said you guys leave tomorrow, which is a little bit different than how you guys do for regular meets, and you talked a little bit about how the quad meet looks a lot like the postseason. Can you elaborate on some differences in y'all's preparation going into this meet?
Yeah, I really love a trip like this. I think it's a great opportunity to, again, start with the end in mind and practice what we would want to do in Fort Worth at a national championship type of meet. I think it's also a great opportunity to help the team really work on some team bonding, some team culture development. It's hard when you're kind of in just the daily flow of life here. There's classes, there's practice, there's tutoring, there's treatments, there's so many things that you're running in a really fast-paced environment. And I think a trip like this allows everybody to slow down, really spend time on the things that matter, and work on just building a championship team.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Mhm.